Thank you for coming back to another episode of Mixed Views with your favorite mixed couple, Humna and Tyler.
Woo!
This is episode 7, and today we're going to talk about sex.
Sex.
Yes. According to the University of Chicago's General Social Survey, that's been running since 1972, reports that Americans not having sex is at its highest in 3 decades, by a lot. So it states right at the beginning, 23% of Americans, which is also 1 in 4 people, have reported no sex in the last year. And most of them happen to be in the category of 20-something men. And when I say 20-something, I mean men in between the ages of 20 and 29.
Yeah, because that's your 20s.
Yeah.
Thanks, smarty pants.
Yeah. So the Washington Post reported on this, and it says, experts who study Americans' bedroom habits say that there are a number of factors driving the great American sex drought. Age happens to be one of them. The 16 older demographic climbed from 18% of the population in 1996 to 26% in 2018, according to the survey. The share reports no sex has consistently hovered over 50%, and because that age group is growing relative to everybody else, it has the net effect of reducing the overall population's likelihood of having sex. So they're reporting that because the age demographic of people 60 and older has grown nearly 10% in the last 2 decades, and 50% of those people have reported having no sex, it's bringing down the overall percentage of Americans having sex.
Right.
Now, other factors that they put in there is partnering later in life, which is definitely something that can be seen as true because we see that not only are a lot of younger people not getting married as early in life, they're waiting till their 30s and 40s to really settle down.
Right, because a lot of people nowadays are more career-driven.
Not only more career-driven, they just feel the want to be more free for a little while longer because the expectation isn't, it used to be when you were between 18 and 25, you were kind of looking for your lifelong partner.
Right.
Now, now you're just worried about getting your career focus.
Right.
They cite a professor of psychology at the San Diego State University, Jean Twenge. I'm not saying if I'm saying that name right, but I hope I am. She's the author of iGen, Why Today's Super Connected Kids Are Growing Up Less Rebellious, More Tolerant, Less Happy, and Completely Unprepared for Adulthood. And in her interview, she said that growing sexlessness among America's 20-something is primarily to attribute to partnering up later in life. There are more people in their 20s who don't have a live-in partner, she said. So under those circumstances, I think less sex is going to happen. Makes sense.
I mean, it really does.
Because, just stating the obvious, if you live with somebody, like we have a pair of friends we were talking about last night. They both go to school full-time.
On a side note, they got together a little bit after we got together.
Right. One of them has a part-time job. The other one has 2 part-time jobs, so basically a full-time job altogether.
They both go to school.
And they live separately, and they have their own separate lives.
Right. I think they probably like 15 minutes away from each other.
Yeah.
Because it takes us about like 10 minutes to get to
by
her
the
house.
way, they're part-time jobs. We all worked at the same place.
Right.
So
that's how we got them together.
Yeah, we kind of set them up. So we were saying, as busy as they are, we know they're sexually active. But just comparing us to them, me and you have busy lives.
We do.
But we could probably say that we're more sexually active than them because we live together.
Right. We both work We both go to school. We both take care of the stuff at home. We both do things on our own individually. And we probably still have a lot more sex than they do.
But if they live together, as busy as they are, they would probably find more time for it.
You know, I think about us, you know, when we first got together, like when I first moved in with you, we were rabbits. Like we were fucking, we were safe. Always got to be safe. But we were like rabbits. And then we kind of got into this point where we were just so busy with our goal of moving to Arizona that we just mellowed out, and we kind of became like a turtle in the sense we were having sex but not as frequently. And then now we're back at that good balance of, okay, we're still stressed, we're still worried about things, but we're paying more attention to each other. And it feels like with them, you know, yes, I understand they don't live together, but I also still feel like the both of them have a little bit more freedom than we do because they're not worried about the things that we are. But it's just weird to see that, you know, they're more prone to go out and spend money instead of stay in the house and just like have sex.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we do. We'd rather stay in the house and later have sex than go out and spend like $100.
Yeah, you and I like to go out, you know, we'd like to go out more and do more things, but we also value our money a little bit more to the point to where we pick and choose.
Right. And then you think about our other friend who's around our age, and he has the mentality of, you know, if I meet a girl on Tinder, we'll hook up and then I'll go about my day.
So going back to those 20-something men that aren't having sex, the Washington Post reports 28% of men between the ages of 18 and 30 report no sex, which is nearly tripled since 2008, so 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to 18% of women in that same age group, which is only up 8% since 2008. Now, why is this happening? Well, the Post writes that labor force decrease in men has dropped since the 2008 recession.
Mm-hmm.
Researchers find a connection between labor force and steady relationships, which makes sense.
Right.
Our work brought you and I together.
Exactly.
So they report that 54% of unemployed workers report no steady relationship, compared to 32% of employed workers who do report a steady relationship. So nearly half of unemployed people report no steady relationships in their life, compared to a third.
And I mean, that also makes sense because, you know, if I'm not working and bringing money in for myself, I'm not really going to want to feel comfortable going out. And let's say he doesn't pay for my bill and we have to split the bill.
Well, it's not only that, it's just opportunity. If work is one of the places that a lot of people find opportunity to meet a partner. I think after you and I got together, and then because our store liked to hire people, like it was a college kids kind of ran store.
It was a lot of young people.
You didn't.
High school,
the only
college.
older people that you saw there were the ones who have been there, like the full timers who have been there for a little while.
Right.
Or, you know, people like seasonal people.
But think about it. If you're a college or a high schooler, you're probably working nighttime anyway.
Right. I mean, it was just kind of obvious that eventually it would happen.
This study makes me wonder, you know, everybody who's gotten together at Kohl's and, you know, didn't work out, or, you know, even people that we talk to on the regularly, it makes me wonder how much sex they have. You know, because I feel like our sex is pretty healthy. You know, we're pretty good about communicating things with each other in general, but I think when it comes to our sex, you know, I've been told, like, when I went to go get my birth control again, the doctor told me that the way me and you handle our sex is a pretty mature thing.
Well, yeah, because I think we went through a rough period at one point where we weren't communicating. Kind of both it didn't set us back, but it kind of sat us down and made us realize what we do need to talk about, like the things that we do need to focus on, communicating better, and, you know, kind of when to talk about it.
Right. And the study about, you know, younger guys not having sex. I look at the puppies, really. You know, you've got one friend, he's not looking for a committed relationship. He just wants to hit it and quit it. And then now we have our other friend who, you know, it surprised me that he came to me asking for help of, you know, how do I talk to a girl? How do I get a girlfriend and all of that? So it's just kind of weird to see the two different dynamics.
And if you want to talk about labor force, you know, he's not real. You know, our friend Tom, hopefully he's okay with using his name. I don't think he cares.
We're not using Tom's name before.
Right. He's not one for the workforce. He's got the idea that he doesn't want to work for somebody. He wants to run his own stuff.
Which makes sense.
You know, we're an entrepreneurship type of society nowadays.
I feel like even this generation in general is more like, I'm going to do something with my own name on it.
Right. And so he'll get a job, and then, like, even he was working at an Amazon warehouse for like 3 months, and he was making like $15 an hour. And, you know, you could still hate your job but stay for the money. He didn't care how much money he was making. If he doesn't like it, he's going to leave. And so he doesn't get himself out there too much, which, if you want to connect the labor force with steady relationship, there you go.
No girl.
Because I don't even know how the longest job he's had, to be honest. But I think he's a prime example of that connection. Now, they also talk about living with parents. For the obvious reasons, you don't want to bring a sexual partner back to your parents' house.
Right. Our situation was kind of unexpected and a little...
Plus, we were younger.
Yes, we were.
So
we all started to mature at the same time.
You know, it's not like we're 25, like between 25 and 35 living with our parents still. You know, we're still young at an age.
You just turned 21, and I'll be 20 in the summer.
Right. So we're in a little bit of different circumstances. But they put in numbers that 35% of men between 18 and 34 compared to 29% of women in that same age group are currently living with their parents. And so they state that as a reason why there's a gender gap when it comes to sexlessness and why men are reporting higher numbers than women.
And I mean, I guess I tried to explain to you last night. I think it has more so that the way society basically grooms little girls, it's like once you hit that age where, you know, you can be independent, that's what your mom always wants you to do. She wants you to go out and go get that apartment with your girlfriends or whatever and be independent. When it comes to boys, you know, mom wants to cuddle you and keep you at home, especially in your case where, you know, you're the last born.
Well, you're bringing it from an interesting point of view that I didn't really think about. It kind of makes sense. Guys may be more comfortable to go back. And this is my connection to your point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you talk about how, you know, guys are more comfortable to go back home because maybe they're a mama's boy.
It's more longer for a guy to be a mama's boy than for a girl to stay a daddy's girl, in my opinion.
Yeah, whether you want to make a connection between mama's boy, daddy's girl, daddy's boy, I don't know if that really matters, but I just think guys are more or less, you know, in a way cheaper. So, like, after college, more guys might say, well, I'm going to go home and live with my parents, save some money. And women are a little bit more stubborn to go back home.
Without a doubt.
Because they want to feel like they're strong and independent.
Exactly. No,
and I don't think guys have that feeling. I think guys, I can be strong and independent when I want to. I'm going to go home. I'm going to save some money. And I'm going to live cheaper.
Now, I also think it has a lot to do with most men don't know how to take care of themselves.
Maybe so.
You think about Tom, he might know how to do a couple of things, but if you think about everything I do for us, I don't think Tom would be able to do it.
Well, okay. The difference between you and let's just say the average person is you learn from, you know, a stay-at-home mom who...
No. Mom didn't become a stay-at-home mom until she met Aline.
Okay,
She was
I
a
know,
working mom.
But you know what I mean. By the
Okay.
time she became a stay-at-home mom, how many kids did she have?
Well, by the time she became stay-at-home,
It
had
was
the
just
twins.
It was just
Mom became a stay-at-home mom when she had the twins, and then she tried to go back to work, but then it didn't work out, and so she just stayed home, and then we had Chipmunk.
right. So she's been a stay-at-home mom for long enough, you know, to the point you weren't a grown to the. How old were you when the twins were born?
12, 13 maybe.
Okay, so you were still a child. You know, you were almost a teenager, but you were still a child.
Right. I think I was about to hit. Yeah.
So, from 12 to now, your mom's been a stay-at-home mom. So that's 6 kids from the point when you were 12 to now. That's a long enough point to where your mom's pretty solidified as a stay-at-home mom right now. Mm-hmm. So you grew up in a household where she was able to still catch you at a young enough age to where she taught you a very certain style of cleaning and cooking and teaching you different skills. And that's what I mean by you are different from the average person, because you grew up in a household where these things were like they were a must for you.
Well, honestly, on that note, if we're talking about when I started to learn this, it was probably when like Amina or Rafia was born.
Okay, but like my mom, you know, she didn't necessarily teach me how to cook, but she taught me how to use the oven. She taught me how to use the microwave, how to use the toaster, a blender. She didn't teach me how to get on my hands and knees and clean a floor, clean the carpet, but I know how to use a vacuum and I know how to use a carpet cleaner. And she didn't teach me how to do laundry, but she said, well, I guess she did teach me how to do laundry. But I'm just saying, your mom...
take away all the, like, carpet cleaner and all that. The basic things people need to know is, okay, how do I make a meal for myself? You know, always tossing stuff in the oven or the microwave isn't even the healthiest choice.
No, it's not. But as long as you know how to use an oven, you can go from there.
Right. So, I always give you a little bit of credit, especially being that me and you have been together. You have improved. But I'm saying that's something I taught you,
because
not your mom.
I give your parents credit because they taught... I think they went above and beyond the normal parents that teach you the basics. You know, how do you use an oven without lighting the place on fire? How do you clean your clothes so you don't have to re-wear underwear?
I mean, if you think about...
until someone does it for you.
Even if you think about Aline, I know how to change my tire. I know how to change my oil. I know what certain issues to look for. If the car makes a certain sound, I know it could be this. Let me call him and see.
You said, I don't think guys know how to defend themselves. I think it's true to a certain extent. They know less.
Oh, I mean, it is
but
those
I think if Tom
fluctuations.
moved out on his own, I think it just comes down to laziness for a lot of guys. I don't think it's that they don't know how to do it. I think it's just that they'd rather not.
There's a reason why I told you if Tom and Zach move in with us, I would become the new mom. Because, I think Zach, he could probably do a lot on his own. He's got that kind of ambition where if he says he's going to do it, he's going to do it. Now, when it comes to Tom, I might just become a surrogate mother for him because I don't really see him. He doesn't even take care of himself when we hang out. Like, I know I get irritated with you every time you refix your hair, but Tom wears literally the same outfit every time we hang out.
Well, he's also one of those guys that I think he does. His financial situation is currently a mystery. I have the idea that he's got a good financial situation.
He's got a blanket.
Well, he's got a blanket, but I think independently he does have an okay financial situation. Mm-hmm. But he values his money in a way where he doesn't see it beneficial to put it towards materialistic things. He doesn't care about having a new phone. He doesn't care about buying new clothes. He doesn't care. Like, he spends his money based on what he wants.
The Marie Kondo, what brings him joy.
I could be like, I want a new mouse just because I don't like this mouse anymore. that wouldn't be him. He would, like, if he didn't like his current mouse, he would still deal with it because he doesn't see it beneficial until it's broken. Mm-hmm. He'd rather save that $10 and put it towards a new PS4 game that he knows he's going to play a lot. Just because he might be unsatisfied with something a little bit, he will also hold on to it until it's no longer of use.
Now,
he doesn't throw his money towards little materialistic things here.
Now
and there.
You think about that, but he's always one to like want to go to restaurants, and for some reason he's got this idea of meeting this wonderful waiter and that becoming his girlfriend. So I just try to figure out,
again,
does that have to do with like his money security? That's why he's like, he can stay at home and I'll just meet a girl whenever.
Well, I don't know about that, but him always wanting to go out to eat, he finds value in spending his money on restaurant food. He doesn't see it as a waste of money.
It's not always a waste.
He only spends his money really on food and games, and he invests his money. Yeah, but those are the things that he really likes.
Right.
And those are the things that he likes to put his money into, not, little materialistic things like the average person would, like you or I. If I want something new, even though I already have it, but I want it updated, or I want just a new one, I'll put $10 towards it.
Right. I don't know. You kind of brought this up to me when you were talking about, well, I think somewhere it's talking about, men being celibate for so long. And you're like, okay, well, you didn't really have sex until you were like 18. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I never really thought of it like that, though.
Well, now that you've had the experience, you can't imagine living without it.
Exactly.
But it's the same thing with, like, smoking a cigarette or drinking beer. You went so long in your life, but then once you start, you're like, well, and not to sound like a drunk or, someone who likes cigarettes, because I haven't had a drink. I'm 21, but I didn't have a drink on my 21st birthday, and I still have, the childhood sips that they would allow me to have every once in a while, but I don't smoke cigarettes, beer, cigars, anything.
Did you say beer?
Or cigarettes, marijuana.
I said beer.
It's the same. It's the same type of idea. You went so long, and now,
addicting.
Yeah, obviously.
I guess I don't know. I just maybe I just think that our situation is so like out there that I'm expecting everybody else I know to kind of be doing more things than us, like in terms of sex and going out and yada yada yada. That it's like to see this that. No, they're really not having as much sex as me. Well, it's kind of like...
But yeah, because we have an advantage that, we talk about the advantages that our friends have with, not having the big goals that we have. But we have an advantage that they don't have, and that's living together.
You still gotta have safe sex.
Yes.
Put that condom on, get that birth control.
Okay,
don't be playing games.
There's one last point that we need to go over before we end this. And it's probably the biggest point that a lot of people are paying attention to. And that's technology.
Oh, the Casey Neistat.
Well, it does. He put out a video about this, but it was also in the Washington Post report about there's more things to do on a Saturday night, such as streaming, playing games, being on social media. And yes, Casey Neistat recently put out a video that we will also link, and he talks about this idea of technology growth. Mm-hmm. And basically his whole point was, in his personal life, he sees social media as a fulfillment of human interaction, which makes sense. He's a huge influencer who can go on Twitter, and if somebody decides, or if somebody gets a message from him, whether you're a regular Joe or another influencer, you're probably going to talk back to him.
Right.
In a good way, because he's Casey Neistat. He's a huge YouTuber.
Right.
So he has a different experience when it comes to social media interaction, because he's very well liked. compared to someone like you or I who are just regular people.
When it comes to me in social media, I don't actually normally comment unless it's like something where I feel passionate about, like when there were, some topics coming up on CNN or whatever, and then I'd comment. I like that kind of thing because to me that's what it's like our relationship. I enjoy seeing other people's perspective. As long as you can effectively explain your perspective to me, I am all for listening.
But, Casey will put out like this random thought or this random question, and he'll get responses, hundreds or even thousands of responses within minutes.
Right.
So, of course, that is going to be a fulfillment of human interaction. But he breaks it down like this. What life was like before social media and all this technology, and life after was the intimacy factor.
And I agree with that.
Not even just sexually, but just talking on the phone and hearing your voice and hearing your expression and your mood, And
I don't like talking on the phone, but the only person I will always talk to on the phone with is mom.
Yeah, that's my mom and my dad.
No, not even. I don't even think I'd really talk to Tata like that. I think mom is probably the only person I'd willingly call on the phone every day to talk to.
We have your parents are still together. My parents are not.
Yeah, I know.
So that's the difference. So in real life, he's saying real life friendships can lead to intimacy, which can lead to sex, in certain situations.
Right.
Social media friendships are less likely to have intimacy and are less likely to lead to sex. Now, it's not saying that it can't, but typically it doesn't. You can't get intimacy. The farthest you're going to get with intimacy when it comes to social media or like direct messages or
them nudes.
Facebook comments. Well, there's that, but also I was going to say emojis.
Oh. I was thinking nudes.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a level of... But that's one of those situations where that could be intimacy that leads to more sex. But I thought this would be... And I think a lot of people are picking up on this point. I think this is the biggest point of America being less sexually active, the technology factor.
Yeah, I don't think it's the technology itself. I just think that people are connecting differently.
Well, the technology factor has broken people from reality.
Okay.
Fairly obvious that more people are more antisocial or have social anxiety because of they're so connected within their devices.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that communication, human interaction anymore. They don't know how to anymore. They don't want to anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, when he was explaining, like, the intimacy thing, I totally get that, I think about, like, okay, besides my family, who do I really talk to? Okay, I've got Ocean and I've got Kiki, and then if Pillow ever hits me up, Pillow, and then White Boy. But those are people that I know in real life who I'm down to talk to 24/7, really, if I could. Now, you think about, like, you were cleaning your Twitter feed or your followers or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I kind of want to go through my Instagram because I'm normally on there. And it's like, you start to see, like, people develop, but it's like, it's not really interesting to you anymore. So it's like, okay, well, I don't need to follow this person if they're going through what I'm going through.
Right.
So I can see where, like, the intimacy of, like, okay, well, I thought I had a connection with these people, so that's why I followed them, and that's why I comment on their posts. And now if they don't have it, I don't care for it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
but I think I told you, I'm not surprised. I think once the baby boomers were all adults, I think that was when you knew.
I think that's where that 60 or plus demographic comes in.
Right, because, honestly, just looking at women in general, it's a lot more women out there who are career-driven than wanting to open her legs and possibly get pregnant.
All right, that's where we're going to end this episode. Thank you so much.
Please
for
practice
listening.
Safe sex.
Practice
always.
Safe sex.
Put a condom on. Go get you some birth control. Go get tested. And if you ever feel uncomfortable, you are always allowed to say stop and no.
Yeah, don't forget about those consent condoms. Maybe get yourself one of those.
Okay, we ain't even going to talk about those.
Okay. Please like and subscribe. Follow us wherever. Listen to us wherever. Boost our ratings. And come back and listen to us. And please email us or drop us a message somewhere.
Yeah, feel
if
free
you
to
have ideas or have comments, and we'll put them in here. We'll talk about them.
If you ever want to put your own personal story out there,
Yeah,
I'd be down for that.
and maybe if you're interested, contact us, and maybe we'll Skype you or something and have you on the show.
All right. Well, safe sex, good love. Bye.